Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Online Classroom. In my previous video, we already discussed about the variables and the strings. Now, today we are going to discuss about the Python list. So let's go to the topic. So before going to start the coding, at first we have to know what is list. A list can be defined as a collection of variables or the items of different types. The items in a list are separated with a comma and enclosed with the square brackets. Okay. Then the second thing is that the list in Python is used to store the sequence of various types of data. So it means a list can be variable type. List can store a variable types of data. So it means in a single list we can add integer, floating point number, character, anything. A list are mutable, so it means we can update the list when we need. We can modify the elements, right? So and the next thing is there the characteristics, and that is very important to know. The list, first one, the list are ordered. It means it is an ordered element, and the element of the list can be accessed by the index. So in my previous video we already discussed about the strings. So like strings, so list can be ordered also. It's ordered with the start from the 0 and up to n, right? And the list are mutable. I already told it is mutable because we can update the value in a list at any time. And list can be store number of variables, number of various elements, and the second thing is that we have to know that is the characteristics. The lists are ordered, first one, and the second one is that the element of the list can be accessed by the index of that particular list. Means obviously the some index values must be there like string. So index value of the list starting with the 0, right? And the list are mutable. So it means I already told that, so we can update the value of a list when we want. And list can store the number of various elements. So elements may be many types. So that is a basic example. So if you look at the example, suppose L1 and L2. So L1 is also a list, L1 example of a list, and L2 is also an example of a list. In L1, you can say that is the first element is John, right? First element is John, it is basically string type, and the second thing is integer, and third one is also a string type. So and this all threes are separated with the comma, and there is a opening bracket and the closing bracket, means opening third bracket open and third bracket close. So this is a structure of a list. And in the L2, this is all are integer types, right? So see, these both are accepted. Now if I type print type of L1, or if I want to know the what type of L1 is this, what type of L2 is this, then we can say we can check the type of it, right? So suppose if we run this code in an online compiler, so let's give me some time, I'm just copy and paste it in a online compiler, and if I run this code, and these all classes are list classes, means L1 is also a list type and L2 is also a list type, right? Now again back to the slide, the next thing is that the example. So this is a very one big example is there. So suppose let's go to the programming first. So let's go to the online compiler first, and I just want to compile it. So just a minute, I'm just copy paste it. Okay. So now if I compile and run it, so there are so many outputs. Now the question is that what is it? Suppose now look at the code carefully. EMP is a list type, department 1 is also a list, department 2 is also a list, HOD suppose CS is a list, HOD IT is also one type of list is there. Now printing the employee data, right? Now like string, we can access the list by the index values. I already told you. Now what is it? In the line number 7, you can see that print suppose name %s. in which list I want to print the name is employee with the third bracket of 0. Means in the employee list, in the 0th position, John is there, right? So it will print John. After that, the ID is an integer type, right? So that's why it is nothing but %d. In my previous video, I already told you it is same as C. So it means %s for a string, %d for an integer, %a for a floating point number, right? And again, if I want to print the country, and it is also again it is %s, and it is nothing but employee with the 2. It means employee with the index values 2. So that's why it is it will print US, right? So name is name is CS and ID is 11. Okay, so department 1. Okay, so that's why this is printed. Okay, now again, so John ID department. Okay, fine. Now after that, the printing departments. Now if I printing departments means it is a simple print function, so that's why it's just printing departments. And after that, in the same way, if I want to print the elements which are in department 1 list and also in department 2 list, so I can write like this, right? Department 1 0 means in the department 1 in 0th position, that is a CS, it is nothing but a string type. So that's why I write the department name is %s. Okay, now department 2 is also a string type, so that's why department 2 is %s, right? So in that way you can print it. In the same way, HOD details are also there. And now the print type employee, type department 1, type department 2, and these all are, it means these all are class string type classes, right? So in that way we can write multiple variables in a single list. Now again, if we back to the slide, the next part is the list indexing. Like string, the indexing and splitting basically are same, right? So if you look the example carefully, in the in a single list, suppose there are 5 numbers, and in the 0th position there is 1 2 3, right? So in the 0th position there is 0, 1 position there is 1, and in the 5th position there is 5. So it is nothing but index values, write this in the forward direction. Now like string, it is also accepted the backward direction, means -1, -2, -3, -4, -5 and -6. It is also accepted in the backward direction also. Here you just follow my previous video and you will find it. Now so basically this is the example by which we can access those variables using the index values using the forward and backward directions, right? So now if I want to pin the list with the 0 element 1 2 3 like this, you can write like this, and this is nothing but range, and 0 to 6, and it means it is 0th position, and up to 6th position means it will print the total list. 6th position means 6 minus 1, it means it is the 0 to 5th position, right? And if I write only like this, so it will also print the entire list. Now 2 to 5, it means it will start from 2, and 5 it means it will go up to 4. So it means your output will be 2 3 4. But there is one new thing is there. So there are 3 variables, 3 different parts, right? One is 0, after that 6, after that 3. Now what is it? It is nothing but the first one is your start, second one is your stop, and the third one is the step. So what the meaning of start one? Because there are only 2 elements. So it is start, it is stop. It is also 2 is starting, 5 is stopping condition, right? And here 0 is the starting condition, 6 is the stopping condition. But what is 3? 3 means it is written that is used to skip the nth element within start and stop. So it means now if I compile this code, I think it will be better to understand that just copy and I just paste it. Now if I run this code, now 0 and 3 will be your output. So why it is 0 and 3? Because 0 to 6, your starting is 0, and your ending is 6. So it means it is nothing but the entire list will print, right? 0 to 6 means 0 to up to 5 values. Okay, so as there are 6 elements, so 0 to 6 it is nothing but 0 to 5. So 0 to 6 in this, in the line number 7, in the line number 7 for the it will print up to 0 to 5. Okay, as there are 6 values are there. Now 0 to 6 means 0 is the starting condition and 6 means up to 5. Now what is the 3? 3 means you have to skip 3 element from the starting. 3 element from the starting. So 3 element from the starting means 0, 1, 2. We have to skip the 3 elements from the starting. After that, again we have to skip the next 3 elements, right? So like this, so that's why 0, 1, 2 will skip and only 3 will print. So starting value will print is the 0 and the next value obviously 3. Now if I give this element or if I update this as 2, now if I press run button, your output will be 3. Why? Because it is simple. The first value is 0 is remain same and the second, and it will, you have to skip the 2 elements from the starting. It means 0 and 1 will skip. After that 2 will print. After that again skip the next 2 elements. So means 2 and 3 will skip and 4 will print. Right, so like this, so up to this is up to 6, right? This is up to 6, that's why, and that's why it will print up to 4. As if I write here 7 and if I press run button, then 6 will also print, because 7 means is the up to index value 7, total index value here up to 6, 7, and here 7 means it is always take is the number minus 1, right? This is same. So like this, there is the extra facility is there in the list of Python. Now the next part is the list operations, and basically the list operations are also same as the string operations I already told previously. Now first one is the repetition, and it is multiplication basically. The second one is the concatenation. It is basically the plus operation with the same as string. Third one is the membership. Membership means we have to check. It means the in is a special type of keyword, right? Inside Python, in or not in, that is called the membership. Okay, and the third one is the iteration. Iteration means the for, using the for loop. Using the for loop, we can use the iterate over the list of elements. Okay, so we can traverse through all the elements using inside a list using a for loop, right? And the last one is the length of the string. Length of the len is the function. This function is also available in C, also in C coding, and this length function is a predefined function basically. And if you want to find out the length of a particular string, you can call the simple length function and it will return the length of the total string, right? Now the next thing is that adding and updating. So if we want to, I already told you that if we list is mutable, we can update the list. But the first thing is that if we want to add the element in a list, user defined using user defined numbers, right? So suppose what I want to mean that, suppose if I give 5 numbers, it will add to a particular list. So that is called the adding property, okay, in Python. So now suppose at the first time L with that third bracket open and third bracket close, so it is nothing but an empty list. So at first we have to create an empty list. After that we have to take the inputs from the user, how many numbers I want to give inputs, right? So here the n with the integer input the enter the length of the list. So it means the user suppose give the input of the 5 numbers, means user want to give input 5 numbers inside a list, right? Now after that we have to use a for loop. You have to use a for loop because is suppose the number 1 in the 0 position, number 2 in a 1 position, number 3 suppose in a second position, like this, third position like this, right? So for that only, as you, if you remember that in a C programming, if we want to add elements in a particular array, okay, then we have to use the for loop. So like in a list, if we want to add elements inside a list, again we have to use the for loop here. So 0 for loop, a range of that for loop 0 up to n. So n means it is nothing but a user defined number which I already take input from the user, and 0 is the starting index value of a list, so that's why it is 0. Now append is a predefined function which is already there inside inside Python, and using this append function, and we can take the inputs, means enter the items. Now printing, enter the item. Suppose I give 5 numbers as an input, right? And now I have to print the entire list. Now for printing also we can use a for loop. We can use a for loop for I in L. I in L, so it means the value of I, it will take by default as 0, and in L means, what is L? L means it is nothing but a list. So I in L, it means it will start with 0 up to, it will go up to the end position of a list, and it will increment it by 1, right? And for after printing each and every element, suppose if I want to give a spaces, so that's why n equals to space, right? So after printing each element, I have to give some spaces. So that's why n equals to space. That is not mandatory basically. So you may be or may not be. That is up to your choice, right? Now suppose if I want to compile this code, okay, just a minute. Copy paste it, and if I press run button, oh, there is an error. Why the error is there? Oh, sorry, there is an expected and intended block, right? The error is the intended block. So it means suppose you all know that it's if I do not give a tab, or if we do not use a space here, then there is an error, because in Python there is no concept of braces, right? So in C++ or Java, at first we can give braces. So whatever inside the for loop, we have to give the second bracket open and close concept, but intended is a concept in intention is a concept in Python. So in Python there is no concept of braces, so we have to give spaces to make understand of a compiler that this particular position, suppose the line number 7 actually inside a for loop. Look, there is an enter the list length, right? So at the first time, enter the list length. Suppose if I give 5, and after that suppose I enter the item, means it will take now 5 items as an input from the user. Now suppose if I give 0 first item, and the 2 after, suppose 2 after that, if I give 3 after that, if I give 4, and it will now printing, right? So it will print the list of items. So that is the thing by which we can take the input from the user, and it will save this particular input from a particular list to a particular list, and we can print that list, right? So now again back to the slide, and the second thing is that is the updating of the elements in a list, right? So I already told you that if the list is defined previously, we can update some values, and we have to update some values in a list using the index values, right? So suppose if you look at this program carefully, suppose the list, there are 6 elements of print list. Suppose at the first time I just print the all total the entire list, right? Now list 2 equals to 10. List with the index value 2 equals to 10. What it means? It means that in the list, the index value start with 0. So it is 0 position, it is 1 position, and it is the second position, right? So now list 2 equals to 0. So it means it is nothing but 3 will be discarded, and 3 will be updated with 0 with 10. So the updated list is nothing but 1, 2, 10, 4, 5, 6. Now again, if I print the list, and suppose the adding multiple elements, so it is updating the only single elements. Now we can add the multiple elements also in a same command, right? So that is 1 3 1 3, it means 1 and 2, the value of 1 and 2. So 3 means it is nothing but -1, you already know it that. So index value 1 and index value 2, right? So index value 1 is updated with 89 and index value 2 is updated with 78. Now again print the list for your for the what is the to see the updated ones, and after that we can also add the values and the end of the list. So index value also in the list, we already know that index value supported from the 0 and also it is supported from -1. So in both way it is correct, right? So now again if we go for a compiler and suppose okay, I'm just copy paste it, okay, copy and let's paste it, okay, and if I place run button, then look, this is the output, right? So at the first time the value of list will be 1 to 6 and the second at the second position means 3 will be updated with 10, means 3 change with 10. After that multiple values I want to update means 1 position and the second position, right? So 1 and second position, right? So 1 and second position, it is updated it is updated with 89 and 78, right? And after that again the list -1, right? So -1, it means it is nothing but the last element. So the last element was 6, but it is now updated with 25. So now using that way, basically we can also update the list, right? Now again back to the slide. After that the removing is also possible. So remove keyword, remove is a function is there. You just call the same function, you can remove the elements, right? Remove the elements. Suppose this dot remove here, you can say the list dot remove 2, it means it will remove the index value of 2, right? And after that you can again print the entire list, right? So removing is also done. You can just check by your own, okay? Now the next thing is that some functions are basically the predefined functions are there, and the first one is the compare with the list 1 and list 2. If list 1 and list 2 both two lists are there in a single code, we can compare it, but the method is not used in Python 3 and above versions, okay? And length of the list, len length means just it will return an integer value. If we call the length of a particular length, it is same as C++ is, while Java is also there. Maximum and minimum, so if there are some numbers in a particular list, you can just call, if we call the max function, it will return the maximum value, and min function it will return the minimum value inside this list, right? So this is also available. You can check and you can just write the code and you can check it, okay? And next in my next lecture we will discuss about the tuples, and set at dictionary is also there, okay? So thank you very much. Thanks for watching.